out of the red corner, an undefeated mixed martial artist holding a perfect professional record.
What's up, everybody? This Saturday, September 7th, is UFC Vegas 97. This is my full card breakdown and prediction. Timestamps will be in the description. Let's not waste any time and let's get right into it. First fight, we have Zygimantas versus Nathan Fletcher. Romanski's 27 years old, 9-2, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'11 and has a 100% finish rate. Nathan Fletcher is 26 years old, 8-1, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'8 and has a 88% finish rate. I'm expecting this fight to be a fun little scrap between these guys, just solely based off the numbers. 85% combined finish rate. But with that said, I'm going with Ramaska by. Next fight, we have Andrade Petroski versus Budka. Petroski's 33 years old, 11-3, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 6 feet tall with a 73-inch reach, has a 73% finish rate, and he's a minus 280 moderate favorite in this fight. Budka is 24 years old, 7-3, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 6 feet tall, has a 75-inch reach, and has a 43% finish rate. He's the plus 230 moderate underdog in this fight. So coming in, wants to wrestle and grapple. Budka only has 1 KO on his resume, so I don't think he's gonna pose that much of a threat with his power in his hands to stop Petroski from implementing his game plan. So with that said, I'm going Petroski by decision. Next fight, we have Jacqueline Amorim versus Vanessa Demopoulous. Amorim is 29 years old, 8-1, 4-1 in her last 5 fights. She's 5'3 with a 68-inch reach and 100% finish rate. She's a minus 350 moderate favorite coming in this fight. Vanessa Demopoulous, my bad, is 35 years old. She's 11-5. 4-1 in her last 5 fights. She's 5'2 with a 60-inch reach, 45% finish rate, and she's a plus 275 moderate underdog in this fight. So coming in, I'm basically just going to go with the youth and the 8-inch reach advantage in this fight. Amorim also has 6 subs on her resume, so she's skilled on the ground as well. And that's typically, in my opinion, where Demopoulous finds success in her fight. So I'm going Amorim by decision. Next fight, we have Gabriel Santos versus Yizha. I think that's how you pronounce that. But Santos is 27 years old, 10-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'9 with a 70-inch reach and a 70% finish rate. He's a minus 230 moderate favorite. In this is 27 years old. He's 25-4, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'7 with a 71-inch reach and a 76% finish rate. He's a plus 190 underdog in this. So Santos is on a 2-fight skid, but looking back at those fights, he was looking good in both those fights, and it was against good competition. But unfortunately, I mean, he got the loss, but he definitely looked like he belonged. So with that, I'm going Santos by decision. Next fight, we have Felipe dos Santos versus Andrade Lima. Dos Santos is 23 years old, 8-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'7 with a 70-inch reach and a 63% finish rate. He's a plus 110 near even fight. Andrade Lima is 25 years old, 9-0. He's 5'7 with a 68-inch reach and a 56% finish rate. He's a minus 130 slide favorite in this fight. Coming in, Dos Santos in his last fight, he fought Manel Kape when he made his UFC debut. And he really opened a lot of eyes in this fight. The kid is a dog. He comes from Shoot the Box, which is the same gym as Charles Oliveira. And in his last fight, this kid definitely sparked my interest. So with that being said, I'm going Dos Santos by decision in a very fun, tough, competitive fight. Next fight, we have Issac Dulgarian versus Brendon Marotte. Dulgarian is 28 years old, 6-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'7 with a 71-inch reach and 100% finish rate. He also is a minus 2,500 favorite in this fight. Enormous. Marotte is 27 years old, 8-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'10 with a 70-inch reach, 75% finish rate, and is a plus 1050 underdog in this fight. So coming in, Dulgarian is a massive favorite with a 100% finish rate. That definitely gets my attention. So for this fight, I'm going Dulgarian. Next fight, we have Ryan Spann versus Ovince Preux. So Ryan Spann's 33 years old, 21-10, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. He's 6'5 with a 79-inch reach and an 86% finish rate. He's a minus 300 moderate favorite in this fight. OSP is 41 years old, 27-17, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. He's 6'3 with an 80-inch reach, and he has a 74% finish rate. He's a plus 240 moderate underdog in this fight. So coming into this fight, I think it's going to be decided between Ryan Spann's Q and OSP's age. Either Spann will make a decision he regrets, or OSP's age will let him down. Ultimately, I think Father Time is coming to see OSP, and I think this will be probably one of his last fights in the UFC. But I'm going to go Ryan Spann by KO. Next fight, we have Rongzhu versus Chris Padilla. So Rongzhu's 24 years old, 25-5, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'9 with a 71-inch reach and an 84% finish rate. He comes in as a minus 250 moderate favorite. Padilla is 28 years old, 14-6, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'9 with a 74-inch reach and an 86% finish rate. He comes in as the plus 205 moderate underdog. I'm expecting fireworks in this fight, boys. Rongzhu's making his UFC debut after winning Road to the UFC. Both guys have high finish rates with those and subs. Essentially, anything can happen in this fight. But with that said, I'm going Rongzhu by TKO. Next fight, we have Trevor Peak versus Yanal. So Trevor Peak is 29 years old, 9-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'9 with a 70-inch reach and an 89% finish rate. And he comes in as the minus 110 or near even pick'em fight. Ashmouz is 29 years old, 7-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'9 with a 68-inch reach and an 86% finish rate. And he comes in as another minus 110 near even. Both guys in this fight are tough as nails. Pete pretty much gets caught up in firefights in all of his fights. And I don't think he's quite figured out how to manage his gas tank yet. Ashmouz, on the other hand, is an absolute dog. In his last fight, he broke his hand in the first round of his fight and ended up making it go to a decision against a significantly larger fighter in Chris Duncan. So with that said, I think Ashmouz will have a slight power advantage and a technical advantage. And Peak is there to be hit a lot. So with that being said, I'm expecting this to be just a war. And I'm going Ashmouz by decision. Next fight, we have Matt Schnell versus Alessandro Costa. Schnell is 34 years old, 16-8, 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'8 with a 70-inch reach and a 69% finish rate. He's a plus 380 moderate underdog. Costa is 28 years old, 14-4, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'4 with a 67-inch reach and a 79% finish rate. He comes in as the minus 500 heavy favorite. In this fight, I really like this matchup. Schnell is a very fun fighter who always gets into firefights. He eats a lot of clean shots, but just keeps coming forward unless his opponent just takes his lights out. With that being said, I'm going Costa by. Next fight, we have Steve Garcia versus Cal Nelson. Garcia is 32 years old, 16-5, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 6 feet tall with a 75-inch reach and an 81% finish rate. He's the minus 175 slight favorite. Nelson is 33 years old, 16-5-1. He's 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'11" with a 71-inch reach and a 63% finish rate. He comes in as the plus 145 underdog. In this fight, I'm expecting this to be fun and explosive. Garcia is just a kill or be killed type of fighter. I think Nelson does better when he fights at range or is more like a tit for tat type of fight. However, in this fight, he isn't the longer fighter, and Garcia comes a bang, no Diddy. So with that said, I'm going with Garcia by K. In the co-main event, we have Jessica Andrade versus Natalia Silva. Andrade is 32 years old, 26-12, 2-3 in her last 5 fights. She's 5'2" with a 62-inch reach and a 69% finish rate. She comes in as the plus 215 underdog. Silva's 27 years old, 17-5-1. She's 5-0 in her last 5 fights. She's 5'4" with a 65-inch reach and a 71% finish rate. She comes in as the minus 270 favorite. In this fight, I think Andrade has gotten away from what made her unique, and that's her pressure. She got a bit reckless in her last fight, in her fight with Yan Xiaonan, and she got knocked out for it. And she hasn't quite been the same fighter for me coming forward, being that marauder that she used to be. And I'm going Silva by decision. Then we have the main event. We got Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. Gilbert Burns is 38 years old, 22-7, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'10" with a 71-inch reach with a 68% finish rate. And he comes in as a plus 145 underdog. Sean Brady's 31 years old, 16-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He's 5'10" with a 72-inch reach and a 50% finish rate. He comes in as the minus 175 favorite. In this fight, I think Gilbert Burns has a slight advantage on the feet in power and just overall striking ability. I think the grappling will cancel each other out. The Achilles heel for me in this fight is Gilbert Burns' age. As you start to get a little older, guys, you start having more injuries. Think of a la Muhammad fight. You take a little longer to recover. The gas tank slightly drops a little bit. And I'm thinking about the JDM fight with that. And that burning desire, like it's still there, but it's not quite, it doesn't burn quite as hot as it did in the past. So I think over 5 rounds that Brady's gas tank and all the grappling he's going to try to implement is what the difference will be. I see Gilbert Burns looking good early in the fight, but Brady just hangs around and then starts using that wrestling and that grappling to wear on Gilbert Burns and that gas tank. And I'm going Sean Brady by decision. I know Gilbert Burns is the dog. I just think Father Time is undefeated. He's starting to get his eye on Gilbert Burns a little bit. If you want to support the channel, guys, like the video, subscribe for more content, ring the bell so you always get notified when I upload and go live. And as always, until next time.